Hi, my name is Angela and I write at the website Schooling with Grace. Today you are at the workshop Homeschooling High School Without Losing Your Mind. If you are just now getting started on your homeschool high school journey, there are probably some fears and doubts that are running through your mind about whether or not you are capable of homeschooling your children through high school, whether or not a high school homeschool diploma is going to be enough to get your kid into college, or even if they're going to be successful in the workplace with just a homeschool education. I'm here to tell you that the answer is yes. Homeschooling has come a long way in the last 25 years, and it is now not only accepted by most colleges and universities, but they actually come and recruit homeschoolers because they know that homeschoolers have a higher level of motivation, that they are more driven, and they're definitely hard workers. Therefore, they're going to be valuable assets to their college and university, as well as in the workplace. So in this workshop, I'm going to walk you through 4 things to do before you begin high school, or even if you're right there in the midst of already with your kids in high school. Homeschooling high school doesn't have to be hard, and you can do it without losing your mind. And I'm sure that's got to be a little bit of encouragement to all of you. Okay, step 1 is to work backwards. We're going to start with the end in mind. Think about what your student wants to do after they graduate high school. Do they want to go to college, a trade school? Are they planning on entering the workforce or maybe the military? If college is their goal, then the first thing you need to do is visit the website of the top 3 colleges that you think they might be wanting to attend. You're going to want to go to those college websites and you're going to look under the admission requirements, and you're going to take a look at what is required of students to enter that college. Do they have to have 3 or 4 credits of math? Sciences, do their sciences have to have a lab with them? What do their English requirements look like? Do they have to have volunteer hours? What ACT score or SAT score is going to be required for admission for that particular college? You're going to want to take a good look at all of that information before you decide what your high school plan for your student is going to look at. You want to make sure that you're also looking at the GPA score of that college, because you're going to want to motivate your student throughout their high school career with those numbers. So if they plan to attend trade school, what high school requirements are needed for that? If they want to go into mechanics or perhaps plumbing or to be an electrician, what kind of things do they need to be doing in high school to prep them for that? Or is it possible to begin apprenticeships in those areas before they graduate? So you're going to want to look at all of those things before you get started with your high school plan. Maybe they just want to jump right into the workforce. Do they plan to pursue their own business? If so, maybe entrepreneurship classes or that kind of path is the way to go. You might consider even doing some career exploration classes as part of their curriculum. One thing that you're going to want to make sure that you check out, and most likely you already know if this is you, but if you have a state that has graduation requirements for homeschoolers, then you're going to want to pay special attention to that as you're filling out their college plan. Okay, but what happens if you have a kiddo that has no idea what they want to do post high school? No worries. I've got 3 of those at my house. I only have 1 of my children that had any idea what they want to do post high school. That's okay. They're young. They don't need to know what they want to do with the rest of their life. So it is my personal belief that unless you have a student with specific learning disabilities or difficulties, and you know that they're not going to thrive in a college environment, your goal as a parent should be to prepare a rigorous enough high school transcript that college can be an option if they so choose. Then you have done your due diligence as a homeschool parent to prep them for whatever it is that they might be doing later in life. So the first thing, just to reiterate, that you need to do is to decide what the end goal will be in your student's life. That's step one. Okay, step two, create a plan. You're going to take what you have learned from step one and you're going to begin to hash that out and look at what you think it might look like over the course of 4 years of high school. Your state might dictate how many high school credits that your student needs to graduate. But if it doesn't, you're going to want to go back to step one and look at the required college admission credits to determine how many credits will they need. A good number to shoot for would be between 24 and 30 credits. Most subjects, like world literature, will count for like 1 credit for the year, and maybe an elective like PE might only count as half a credit. It's important to note, and I do want to note this, that you are a homeschooler, which means that you get to kind of make those decisions yourself. I'm kind of giving you an idea based on what colleges ask for, because I think that's just a good number to shoot for. But as a homeschooler, you have the liberty to decide how many credits your student needs or what you think that they should have. And you can set the guidelines for the kind of classes that they should take. But if your student is college bound, or if you are trying to prepare a college prep transcript, these are some of the suggestions that are just in general best practices. So you're going to want to look at each of the subjects. You're going to want to look at math and English and science, PE, all the electives. And obviously, a lot of these classes are going to build on each other so that the order that they are taught is going to be obvious. One thing that I do want to kind of point out is that a lot of those classes like history, for example, are going to have lots of options for you to use. You might use world history, American history, ancient history. There are different kind of histories that not every curriculum has in there, but that you can use on your own as part of the transcript. You don't have to nail down a specific kind of history just for the sake of college, what a college transcript or what colleges might be looking for on a transcript. So you have some liberty with those kind of things. But as far as like math goes and sciences, a lot of if you're not college bound, then you have more liberty with the types of maths and sciences that you're going to take. If you are, then you're going to want to look at what those colleges are looking for as far as math and sciences go, because a lot of sciences are going to need labs in order to count as for what those colleges are looking for. And math is going to need to have some more rigorous courses in there in order for your students to be prepared. So, some subjects like electives are going to need to be decided on. And when deciding upon electives, I want you to take into consideration what subjects your students might be interested in. So the electives are like the perfect time for your student to start to explore what kind of things that they might be interested in post high school. This is the time to throw in those robotics or motion picture, culinary arts, or anything else that piques their interest. If you have a student with extracurricular activities that they have really learned a lot from, and you see that it's something that they're doing regularly, and you feel that with some integrity you can put that on the transcript, then by all means do that. If it's something that can be counted as an elective. I mean, are they rebuilding an engine with dad? Mechanics is an elective. Have they started a garden and they're learning about soil composition and companion planting and compost and all of those things? Use that as an elective because they are learning and taking their time to do it. You are also going to want to begin to think about volunteer opportunities. Not only is that great for college admissions, but it also looks good on a resume when they're applying for a job. Not to mention, it's really just a good thing to be teaching our children. You can consider places like food pantries, Meals on Wheels, animal shelters, getting involved in local government, doing things with like campaigning. You can count volunteering at church as well as part of their volunteer hours. You're going to want to start planning some of this time out in advance because that needs to be thought of early on to make sure that if there are any hours that are required of a college, that you're going to be able to get those in. Once you've figured out what courses your student is going to need, the next step is going to be to figure out what curriculum you are going to use. There are so many options, but you're going to want to take into consideration if you are working towards college prep or just a well-rounded high school transcript. Some of the more popular college prep curriculums are Apologia and Saxon. They're pretty rigorous in their nature. Or you can even consider doing AP classes, the advanced placement curriculum, to earn college credit. Whereas something like the pacemaker curriculum might be a little less rigorous, but might be a really good choice for those who struggle in certain subjects or maybe are not college bound. Do your research and see what will be the best fit for your family. And just as a side note, total freebie, make sure that whatever language arts program that you are using has a strong writing component. All of our children have used IEW throughout their school career, and when our daughter started taking dual credit classes at the community college, and as well as when she took the SAT, the skills that she learned in that particular writing program were invaluable. She's never made less than an A+ on any paper that she has written thus far, and I really do attribute that to the writing education that she received in that IEW program. So whatever it is that you're using, just know that, really throughout the whole rest of their life, they're going to be writing. And so it's just really important that they know how to write well. So choose wisely in regards to that. Okay, step 3. You're going to now decide how these classes will be taught. So you've laid out a plan, you've figured out what classes that your student is going to take over the course of their high school career, and now you have to figure out how they're going to be taught. You most likely, like most homeschool parents, don't feel qualified to teach every high school subject that needs to be taught. And that is okay. In fact, it's better than okay. We can't all be experts at everything, and our students need to see that too. Look over the list of classes and decide upon the classes that you can teach yourself, that you feel very confident in, or just mediocrely capable, and decide which classes that you're going to need help with. There are so many options. Y'all, there are so many options in the homeschool arena that even if you don't have places around you, there are so many places online that you can go to get the help that you need. There are a plethora of online homeschool programs to look into and resources that can help you. I've included a few of those in the handouts for this session. So when you get a chance to take a look at those, if you are in the boat of you just can't do it all yourself. Other options to consider are co-op classes where you share the responsibility with other homeschool parents, or university options, university programs where you might go a couple days a week and then they do the homework at home the other times. So in that situation, you're going to pay for your student just to attend the classes that they want. You may consider hiring a tutor for certain subjects that you don't feel confident teaching. Another option that is quite popular among homeschool students, high school homeschooled students, are dual credit classes. These are classes that you can enroll in at a college or a university that has that program, and your student can earn the high school credit that they need as well as the college credit that they can use as part of their college degree. It's a great option for homeschoolers to kind of get them both out of the way. And many community colleges are free to those who live in the area. Unfortunately, ours is not, but the next city over, they get to go, their students get to go to community college for free. And so I think that's a fantastic option if your student is ready and mature enough to handle that. There are even online colleges that you can do that with as well. So you're going to want to check that out if that's something that you're interested in. If you have a student that is not ready for dual credit, you may want to check out what your community college has to offer for homeschool students. I know that our community college offers just regular high school classes for homeschoolers, and they offer it in math and they offer it in science, and they might even offer it in a few other subjects. But that might be a good option if you aren't ready for college level classes, but you still need the extra help. With so many options available to you and your student, you should be able to find whatever is available to get your student those credits that they need to graduate. Okay, so step 4. Now that you have a solid plan in place, you're going to need a way to track it all. I have a binder that I have kept for all of my kiddos. It's very sophisticated in that it's just a little binder and it just says school plan on it. And inside that binder, I have each of my students, each of my kiddos have a section where they have their school plan laid out for them, their high school plan. I have pages specifically for each year of their high school in that with all the information that we started with when I talked to you in step 2. Each page has the classes that they're taking that year and any book list that I have. It's not necessarily just for their high school transcript at the end, but I use it just kind of as a way to kind of keep track of things over the course of their high school years. And because, I'm going to share a little secret with y'all that I don't do a lot of tracking before high school. My kids do take core classes in junior high. They've taken IEW writing throughout all of their years, but I don't really feel the need to track much schoolwork and I don't live in a state that requires it, so there's that. But I don't track stuff until they get to high school. But when they get to high school, I do try to keep more detailed records of the book list that they're reading, their test that they have taken. Not every test, but I do try to keep track of their big tests, like their semester graded tests, their all of those important ones that give them those grades. So you're going to need a place to keep track of all of that too. And then what happens is that I get to the end of the year and I transfer that information over onto a transcript. So I use the binder and I use that as my year at a glance for each of them. And then I just have a simple Excel spreadsheet that I use to keep up with each subject in a spot for the grade. And I just keep all of that together in a binder. And I keep track of any communication that I have with my kiddos' teachers. So if they're not taking a class with me, and the teacher sends me at the end of every semester and at the end of every year the grade for their algebra or their biology, those classes, then I keep track of that communication just because I just feel good about having that communication there from them, and it looks a little bit more legit if for whatever reason I'm ever asked about it, which I probably never ever will be, but it's there if I need it. Inside the binder, I also keep track of their volunteer activities, their extracurricular activities, any of the jobs that they've had. And then at the end of their high school years, I'm going to take all of that information and I transfer it to a transcript. And that's what I do to keep track of my very sophisticated binder. Now, you could easily do that online yourself using Excel documents, and you could scan in that information. And just a little old school in that I like to have all of that paperwork. But speaking of transcripts, When we first began homeschooling high school, I started out with a simple transcript, and each year I just kind of added to it as we went along. When my oldest graduated high school, her college had specific requirements that they wanted to see on the transcript. So then I made sure that those things were included as well. You're most likely going to find all of that information on the college or university's website under admission requirements. If they're headed into a workforce, some jobs do want to see those transcripts, so they're going to want to see what you've created, and most likely it probably just needs to be a simple transcript. I've included a few places in the handouts for downloadable transcripts or places you can go to download some transcripts. I ended up when my daughter went into the university, I ended up just printing a transcript off of Etsy. I went to Etsy and I searched for transcripts because I wanted it to look a certain way, and I was tired of messing around with Excel to try to make it work. And I just purchased a $7 transcript, and it was perfect. It filled out all of the information inside for it. It had a way to add up all of the different grades in order to get the GPA just right, including like her dual credits and all of those other things. So you can find it lots of different places if you want to get fancy, or you can just keep it simple. And so there you have it. Hopefully I have walked you through a few important steps to help you understand that it doesn't have to be complicated. Homeschooling high school can be relatively easy as far as the steps that you need to do in order to make it happen. Now, I'm not going to lie, there is a lot more pressure and a lot more stress that comes from getting your kids through high school, because their future really is in your hands, but you've got plenty of help around you. You're not alone. There's a whole, like I said, a whole online world out there that can help you if you do not have those resources available locally. But I hope you do. I hope that you're able to find some homeschool groups or organizations or co-ops that can really come alongside you and support you and encourage you and cheer you on all the way to the end, because we've made it to the end with almost two of our children, and the fruit of that is just it's really, really beautiful, and I hope that each one of you get to experience that for yourself. So I'm going to end this part of it, but then I'm going to come back with a few resources that we really have enjoyed and used over the course of our high school career. Okay, so I wanted to show you a few things that we have done at home, or what I have used. But first, I realized I was trying to quickly get through some of those steps, and I wanted to be able to show you just how simple my record keeping system is for my kids, and how yours does not have to be super sophisticated. I literally just made an Excel sheet to keep track of the grades in the classes, and this is what my Excel sheet kind of looks like right here. So I know it's going to be backwards for you here, but I literally just have the classes that they're taking for freshman year, sophomore, junior, senior year, and then there's the grade that they received in that class. I have not actually, for my son, filled in his sophomore year grades yet. I haven't transferred those over to that yet. But then the transcript, this is what my daughter's transcript looked like when we were all said and done. And I just want you to see that it doesn't have to be something complicated. You can create something simple that works for you without a lot of fuss. You just have to have a place that you're going to remain, that you know yourself, you know what kind of organized person you are or you are not. And so you can be as organized as you want, or you can just be simple and just keep it in a document on your computer, or you can print out things and put it in a binder. And I did want to also share with you that a couple books that we have used in our education that I think has been really great and really helpful. The first one is the Thomas Jefferson Education, and it's teaching a generation of leaders for the 21st century. I think that's an important concept for us all as homeschool parents and just parents in general need to be doing with our children. So great read for that. And a book that was recommended when we first started, not when we first started, but in the middle of our high school years, a couple years ago, is this Debt-Free Degree book. Lots of helpful information inside there as far as getting through getting a degree in college without a lot of college debt. And then you can go to the website Dual Credit at Home, and that has a plethora of information about creating a high school plan to also get through high school and college without a lot of debt. So hopefully some of those resources, and I will add more in those session notes for you, but hopefully those have been helpful and that you have found value in today's workshop. You can find me again at schoolingwithgrace.com. You can find me on Instagram where I pretend to know what I'm doing, and on Facebook. Thanks for stopping by.